I remember just struggling. I remember feeling like emotionally just overwhelmed. There was times where I was really suicidal. Like really like, man, this pain ever gonna go away? I think that being human is challenging for everybody. I think that we're all struggling to some degree.
Music helps me cope with my day-to-day struggles. So I don't know if anyone wants to admit this, but most of us are hurting.
He was discovered at 13 on YouTube. By 15, he was the most famous teenager on the planet. By 17, he was a global superstar, selling out arenas on every continent. And by 20, he was being arrested, spiraling publicly, and begging the world to understand that the machine that made him famous was the same machine that was destroying him. But nobody listened. Not when it mattered. Not when he was a child. And not when the warning signs were so obvious that the entire internet turned them into memes instead of asking the one question that should have been asked from the very beginning: who was protecting this kid? This is the story of how Hollywood slowly, systematically, and deliberately broke Justin Bieber, and how the people who were supposed to protect him were the ones profiting from the destruction. Justin Drew Bieber was born in London, Ontario, Canada in 1994. His mother, Patty Millett, raised him as a single parent. She was 18 when she had him. They didn't have money. They didn't have connections. What they had was a kid who could sing, play drums, guitar, piano, and trumpet, and a YouTube channel that his mother created to share videos of him performing covers. One of those videos was seen by Scooter Braun, a talent manager who was so impressed that he tracked down Patty's number and convinced her to fly Justin to Atlanta to audition for Usher. Justin was 13 years old. He had no representation, no legal team, and no frame of reference for what he was about to walk into. His mother, by her own admission, was overwhelmed and unprepared for the industry that was about to swallow her son whole. Usher signed Justin almost immediately, and through Usher's connections, Justin was introduced to some of the most powerful people in the music industry, including Sean Diddy Combs. There is a video widely circulated online of a 15-year-old Justin Bieber standing next to a then 40-year-old Diddy. In the video, Diddy has his arm around the teenager and says to the camera, "He's having 48 hours with Diddy. Where we hanging out and what we're doing, we can't really disclose." He then laughs. Justin laughs nervously. The video ends. When this footage resurfaced in 2024, following Diddy's arrest on charges of racketeering, transportation for prostitution, and other offenses, the internet reacted with horror. What had previously been dismissed as a quirky celebrity interaction now looked deeply sinister. People started asking what those 48 hours actually involved. And nobody, not Justin, not Usher, not Scooter Braun, has ever publicly answered that question. Former Death Row Records CEO Suge Knight, speaking from prison in a 2024 interview, made explosive claims about the relationship between Diddy and Justin. Knight alleged that what was done to Usher, they did to Justin Bieber. He claimed that Diddy took a teenage Justin on trips to private islands, where he was allegedly exposed to substance abuse and other harmful activities. Knight criticized the industry for allowing grown men to have unsupervised access to a child, and stated that none of this would have happened if Justin had come from a wealthy, powerful family. These are allegations. They have not been proven in court, but the pattern they describe of powerful men surrounding a vulnerable teenage boy with no real parental oversight is consistent with what we now know about how the entertainment industry has operated for decades. And Justin's behavior in the years that followed tells its own story. By his late teens, the boy who had once seemed like the happiest kid in the world was unraveling in real time. He was arrested for DUI and drag racing in Miami in January 2014. He was charged with assault in Toronto. He egged his neighbor's house, resulting in a felony vandalism investigation. He urinated in a restaurant mop bucket while his entourage laughed. He was photographed looking increasingly withdrawn, angry, and lost. The media treated every incident as entertainment. Late-night hosts made jokes. Tabloids put him on covers with mocking headlines. The internet created compilations of his worst moments. And not once, not a single time, did anyone in the mainstream media stop and ask, what happened to this kid between 13 and 20 that turned him into this? The adults around him failed at every level. His father, Jeremy Bieber, re-entered his life once the money started flowing, and was photographed partying with his teenage son in ways that no responsible parent would allow. His manager, Scooter Braun, prioritized the brand over the boy, booking relentless tours, endorsement deals, and media appearances, while Justin was visibly deteriorating. The industry kept squeezing, kept demanding more content, more performances, more availability, because the machine doesn't stop just because the person inside it is breaking down. Justin himself described this period in a 2020 YouTube documentary series, saying, "I was really, really suicidal. Like, man, is this pain ever going to go away?" It was so consistent. The pain was so consistent. I was just suffering. He was in his early 20s when he said that, but the suffering started when he was a child. There were other moments that, in hindsight, looked like cries for help that were ignored or turned into content. In a resurfaced video with the singer Pink, a teenage Justin appears visibly uncomfortable during an interaction, later saying he felt violated. In another clip, an interviewer asks a young Justin inappropriate questions about his dating life while he squirms in his seat. In yet another, a female interviewer touches his knee and asks him if he's single while he's clearly a minor. These clips were shared millions of times as funny or cute. They were neither. They were a child being placed in situations that no child should be in, by adults who either didn't care or actively chose to exploit the dynamic for entertainment. Justin's struggles with substance abuse became public knowledge by his late teens. He's spoken about using lean popping pills and smoking heavily. He's described periods where he couldn't get through a day without something to numb the pain. He's talked about his security team checking on him at night to make sure he was still breathing. And while it's impossible to draw a direct line between any specific person or event and Justin's addiction, the environment he was placed in, surrounded by much older men, isolated from normal childhood experiences, given unlimited access to money and substances with zero adult supervision, created the perfect conditions for exactly what happened. In 2018, Justin married Hailey Baldwin. By most accounts, the marriage and his renewed Christian faith have been stabilizing forces in his life. He's pulled back significantly from the spotlight. He's stopped touring. He's barely active on social media. He sold his music catalog to Hypnosis Songs Capital for a reported $200 million in 2023, which many interpreted as a move to distance himself financially from the industry that built and then broke him. He and Hailey welcomed their first child, Jack Blues Bieber, in August 2024. Justin has been photographed looking healthier, calmer, and more at peace than he has in years. But the damage is done. You can see it in interviews where he struggles to maintain eye contact. You can hear it in the way he talks about his childhood, carefully with the measured words of someone who has been through therapy and knows exactly how much to reveal and how much to hold back. You can feel it in his music, particularly in songs like Lonely, where he sings about being surrounded by millions of people and feeling completely invisible. And you can see it in the way the internet has slowly started to reframe his story, not as a bratty pop star who went off the rails, but as a child who was handed to an industry that chewed him up, spat him out, and then blamed him for the mess. The entertainment industry didn't accidentally break Justin Bieber. It did what it always does to child stars. It identified a talent. It extracted maximum value from that talent. It surrounded that talent with adults who prioritized profit over protection. And when that talent inevitably crumbled under the pressure, the industry moved on to the next one. The cycle has repeated with Britney, with Macaulay Culkin, with Lindsay Lohan, with Amanda Bynes, and with Justin. The only difference is that with Justin, we have the receipts. The videos are online. The interviews are documented. The footage of grown men with their arms around a 15-year-old boy laughing about undisclosed activities is right there for anyone to see. Drop a comment and let us know your thoughts. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.